Breaking news: who needs decorations for Hanukkah? In the midst of the Israel Hamas conflict, Los Angeles Jews face difficulties celebrating a holiday. This year, when Jack, who is 6 years old, asked his father when they could put up the Hanukkah decorations at their Studio City home, there were some second thoughts. In light of the sadness that the Israel-Hamas conflict and rising anti-Semitism have brought to the Jewish people, Adam Kolbersh was at a loss as to how to convey this to his son. Putting up a menorah in their window seemed like just another way to attract nosy neighbors. It simply didn't seem secure. Metro reporter Nathan Solis of the Los Angeles Times covers breaking news. He has experience reporting on a wide variety of topics, including politics, homelessness, and criminal justice, during his time at Courthouse News Service. In 2017, Solis anchored coverage of the devastating fires in Northern California while working as a multimedia journalist at the Reading Record Searchlight. His previous employer was East Sider LA. After expanding its offensive against Hamas to areas already crowded with displaced people, Israeli forces struck the southern Gaza town of Rafah twice overnight, according to residents who spoke to the media on Thursday. This has caused fear in one of the last places where civilians could seek refuge. There are reportedly no safe havens in Gaza, according to UN officials. There has been heavy fighting in and around Khan Yunis in the southern part of Gaza, cutting off most of the territory from supplies of food, water, and other essential aid while displacing tens of thousands of people. More than 80% of the population has already fled their homes to UN. Secretary General Antonio Guterres used a rarely used power to warn the Security Council of an impending humanitarian catastrophe and urge members to demand a ceasefire 2 months into the war. As the grinding offensive set off renewed alarms internationally, too many Palestinians were killed when Israel destroyed much of Gaza City and the north, according to the United States, which has urged Israel to reduce civilian casualties and displacement. However, it is also likely to veto any such United Nations attempt to end the fighting, and it has consistently vowed support for Israel. After the attack on October 7, which started the war, Israel claims it must destroy Hamas military capabilities and depose it from power. Israeli authorities now claim that Hamas nerve center is in Khan Yunis, the second largest city in Gaza, rather than in Gaza City and the Shifa hospital, as they had earlier claimed. The military claims that Israel's decision to order the evacuation of 20 or more southern neighborhoods rather than the entire region demonstrates a greater concern for civilians. A number of safe havens for Palestinians, however, are quickly disappearing. Family homes are packed tightly and makeshift shelters are overflowing as Palestinians flee to southern Rafah and other areas along the border with Egypt, as northern and central Gaza are largely cut off from aid. Israel maintains its airstrikes on what it claims are Hamas targets all over the coastal enclave, making safety an elusive goal. Even their house in Rafah was leveled by an explosion late Wednesday, and a swarm of injured people rushed to a neighboring hospital. Approximately 20 people, including women and children, were killed, according to eyewitness Ayad al-Hobi. According to residents, another house was struck early Thursday. Dalia Abu Samadana, who fled Khan Yunis with her family and is now residing in Rafah, mentioned that they live in constant fear for their children, themselves, and their families. "We constantly fear being kicked out." Meanwhile, in the humanitarian zone near Rafah, the military claimed that militants were firing rockets from open areas. On Wednesday, it made public footage of an attack it claimed was carried out on launchers located outside the town, just yards from a United Nations warehouse. Over 80% of the 2.3 million people in the area have already left their homes, with many having been displaced more than once, according to the United Nations. More than 16,200 people have been killed and over 42,000 have been wounded in Gaza as a result of Israel's campaign. The majority of the casualties were women and children. The health ministry of the territory reports that many more are believed to be trapped under rubble. Deaths in battle are not treated differently by the ministry. The international aid organization Doctors Without Borders reported that in just one day, 115 more bodies arrived at the Al-Aqsa Martyrs Hospital in the town of Deir al-Balah in the center of the country.